God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. We're just so excited about what God is doing in the land and how He has been blessing us, and that you that are with us even now, we thank God for all that He's been doing, and we're just grateful now. Taking some time for you all to come on in, 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 come on in. Amen. We thank God for His goodness and for His mercy and all the things that He's been doing with us and for us and to us. And so I want to take some time out as we go Facebook Live. We're normally in the studio, and we had to do this from home, so we're doing this from remote on today. And I wanted just to share with you on today what God is doing and how we are working in the community. I know we're going through this virus and we have various issues, and I just wanted to come on and share my heart on today. Normally, this is the time we'll be on Christ Family Network, and you all that are watching us live now, you can also get us later. We'll be tied in with our Christ Family Network family with the Brinson Institute. So you are watching me now live. Also, it's a part of the Brinson Institute that we come on this platform every Wednesday from 2 to 3. And we're just grateful for what God is doing and grateful for what God is blessing us. Sister Smith and those that are on right now, if we just waiting for some more of you to come on, wherever you are now, if you would just hit your live button, hit your share button. If you hit your share button, just hit your share button. That'll help us to connect with some of your people. And we are going to be sharing. One of the things I really want to talk to you about is a variety of things. And I was concerned about, especially the other day, when the mayor got on and we started talking about the disproportionate of blacks that are dying from this virus, that there are more blacks, the percentage of blacks in the city versus the percentage of blacks that are dying, the victims of this virus. One of the things that challenged me also as I watched President Trump's presentation on related to that was that, God bless you, Bishop Driver. One of the things that Koch, the little short doctor, said, he said, well, we know that in the black community there's been a disparity. We already know that. We've been working with that. And he began to talk about that. Dave Maxwell, goddaughter, God bless you as well. And he said something like this. He gave a list. He said, these are some of the diseases in the black community that has been for a while, been for some years. And we know that there's disparity, but blacks are overwhelming in comparison to whites and others. We have the most highest percentage of diabetes, asthma, lung sarcoidosis, lung cancer, stroke, high blood pressure, cancer, obesity, and sugar, kidney failure, amputations. And so they brought that up and said, wow, that we are, as a people, we have a higher proficiency in that. And I want to talk about that. I want to talk about that because the research shows, and I'm going to be reading from some information back in the medical community since, 2005 or more. There's been 15 years. They've been knowing this for 15 years or more. And so we want to begin to look at that and understand that. Why is it and why we have that? So some of you all, this information that I got, I went on the internet and I Googled it up. You might want to do WebMD.com, www.webmdwebmd.com, and these statistics as to some of the issues that's been going on in our community and some of the other things we need to look at and ignore, but not ignore, but understand that these are issues that's been plaguing our community for some time. I wanted to take some time, first of all, to talk about and thank the leadership of our churches. You pastors and leaders, missionaries, evangelists, bishops, apostles, all of the leaders of our institution. I wanted to take some time out and thank you, thank you for your leadership. Even during this season, even though some of us have been saying and doing things that maybe everybody don't agree with, but your leadership is important through this time frame. I want to send a shout out to our brothers and sisters that are participating and understanding our churches, our community. To take a look today, I want to really take a look at our mental, physical, spiritual, social, economical being, wellness. And all of this come out of our spirituality, our churches. I want to celebrate what we call the Black church. Now, I know some of you evangelicals and others, even some of my apostles will say there is no such thing as a Black church. Yes, there was. There is. Still is. The Black church is simply a place where the majority of people that come to worship and celebrate and understand God and are taught about God and living in relationships so happen to be Black. That's the Black church, the Black church. The Black church has really been a part of our history. And so while my millennials, I wanted you to know that some of our baby boomers did not talk to our Generation Xers. Some of our baby boomers had problems with their children. So they didn't talk to the Xers. And the Xers had issues with the baby boomers. And because of that, they did not translate that to the millennials. Millennials somehow got lost out because the Generation Xers were lost out as a result of the issues of the baby boomers that had an issue with the silent generation who would be my parents. So I'm 68 now, and so I have a son, 44. So those who are 44, you have children in your 20s, which would be your millennials. So the millennials are my grandchildren, but that's from what? 13 to 23. Those are the millennials who will be the millennials, but then from 12 under, that's Generation Z. So from Generation Z, 12 and under, to the millennials, 23 and under, to the generational Xers, to the baby boomers, to the silent generation, which would be my parents, those in their 80s. That's 5 generations right there. So if you are living, you should be able to relate to 5 to 6 generations right now. So away with people isolating one generation over the other, because the Bible said for us to teach it to our children, to our children's children, to our children's children. He is a God of 4 or 5, visiting iniquities unto the 4th generation, to the 5th generation, 4th and 5th generation. Also blessings to the 4th and 5th generations. And so we have no excuse. There is no excuse in our communities as African-American people that we have not continued. We have not continued to celebrate the places where our God we met thee. That's our hymn. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmony of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound full. And then we sing one part of it. We say da 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 da. No, ain't no da 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 da. Well, you da 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 da. The verse says, "Lest our feet stray from the places, our God, where we met thee. Lest our hearts, drunk with the wine of the world, we forget thee. Shadow beneath thine hand may we forever stand, true to our God, true to our native land. Lest our feet, F-E-E-T, lest our feet stray from the places, our God, where we met thee." Oh, come on, my brothers and sisters. Where was the place that you met God? Where was the place that you had an experience with God? Where are the places? Not only the place, the places that you came to, that there was some spiritual empowerment, some self-motivation, some healing. So we always talk about, if my people which are called by my name will humble themselves and pray. And say, no. That's Solomon. Solomon, God is responding to Solomon. What did Solomon do? Solomon dedicated the temple. Solomon dedicated a place for God to put his name there. And he said, mine eyes and my ears shall be attentive to the prayers that are prayed in this place. So when we going to do if my people, we got a sacred as a meeting place. Our God, lest our stray from the places, our God, where we met thee. There's certain places in our community, in our homes. The place could be mental, physical, and spiritual. I understand that. Adam, where art thou? Where's the place? So your place may be mental, physical, or spiritual, but there is a coming together of a place that we have set aside to be a meeting place of spirituality, education, training, motivation, and empowerment. That we as a people identified a place and places where we met God, where God met us, where his power and his presence was there. And as a result, certain things we got over and we got around, even as people in a strange land, in a foreign land, in American land. There was still that place that we could come to and find God, understand God, and God understood us, our gathering. And so some of us, we need to go back. Amen. Dr. Julia Smith, thank you, man. I just wanted to continue to spread the word. We need to go back to some of our roots, our colleges, our historical Black colleges and universities that taught us and trained us, and even some of the white institutions and others. But there were places that we met God. Places that we today, even in our own age, where we can meet God. Some of you all that got an altar in your home, a backyard, your bathroom, your couch, your room. Where is the place that you established for God's name, his presence to be there? Where can you gather where 2 or 3 are gathered together in my name? Dr. Leonard Brinston, God bless you. There am I in the midst. Where are those places? Lest our feet stray from the places, our God, where we met thee. Lest our heart, drunk with the wine of the world, we forget thee. Caught up in the Babylon of the world and the community. And this virus that is coming, this virus that is plaguing our communities, and to have information that we as a people, it's affected us greater than other cult ethnic groups. We need to get a call. I'm challenging my spiritual leaders in the African American community and some of the other leaders, whether you're Hispanic, you're white or whatever, but you relate to our people in some kind of way. And this is a human issue as well. But sometimes other cults, other cult groups, and other ethnic groups can learn from other groups. So we can learn from each other. But one of the things I'm saying, those of us in the Black community, the African American community, we need to get back. So what happens when we get off of this quarantine? We need to develop places. Even while we're in quarantine, what is happening? We now have viral places and viral virtual places, virtual spaces. So wherever we have set aside this space, for you, for some it's a watch party, for others it's something else, it's something different. But where are these places where we meet God? Where are these places where we find God? Where are the places that we have a spiritual encounter with each other and develop a relationship that we can feed our mental, spiritual, social, emotional, psychological, whether that's a mental, spiritual, physical, social, physical, and all those other places in our life that we need to be. We need to make sure that we continue to celebrate in our spirituality. So I want to take a time and pause to honor and thank my leaders, the leaders of the community, the spiritual leaders of our community, regardless of what the media, the radio, and the demagogues try to do to take out our leaders, our leadership, to talk about them. Yes, some of us, there ain't nobody perfect. In every group, there's some crazy folk, but there's enough of us there here to put a call out to our people. So I want to take some time out. Some of you all, you Google everything, you read everything, you study everything. Some of us, we need to go back and study our history spiritually. While you reading the Bible and you reading about Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, hey, people of color, and the principles that's in the Bible, but you need to read and go back and do a study on Du Bois and some of E. Franklin Frazier, and read Kenneth, some of the other authors that talked about the history. I have a library full of books. I know this one probably come up backwards. This one is called The Black Church in America. The Black Church in America. The Black Church in America. Several books. But some of you all need to go back and get some of these books that was written some time ago to understand Black history. E. Franklin Frazier, Du Bois, and other writers that wrote about our history. We need to understand that. Black religion, Booker T. Washington. We need to look at Dr. Jordan. We need to look at Richard Wade and certain other people that have wrote, Kenneth Clark. Some of these authors, you need to go look them up. Look them up. C. Eric Lincoln. Look up some of these, Martin Luther King, Joseph Washington, and think about Guy Roy Wilmore, James Cone, Albert Cleage, and read some of these authors about some of the struggles we went through. I want to read something out of this book here that talk about the functions of the Black church. He's called it the functions of the Negro church. It says the Negro church is the peculiar and characteristic product of the transplanted African and deserves a special study. As a social group, the Negro church may be said to have attenuated the Negro family on American soil. As such, it was preserved, on the one hand, many functions of tribal organization, on the other hand, many of the family functions. Its tribal functions are shown in its religious activity, its social authority, and general guiding and coordinating work. Its family functions are shown by the fact that the church is the center of social life and intercourse. It acts as the newspaper, an intelligence bureau. It is the center of amusements. Indeed, is the world in which the Negro moves and acts. For those of us who was part of the Black church, you know that's true. So far reaching as these functions of the church that its organization was political, social, family, and related and touching. Historically, that's what kept us alive. Historically. Now we have wandered away. Some of us have wandered away, not everybody, because the Black church is alive and well and functional. And I thank God for every pastor, all different types of pastors in the Black church, whether it's the pastor and leader of the mega church, the pastor and leader of the organized church. The average church in America is about 35 members. 35 members, according to church statistics. The average church in America is 35 members, 35 adult members plus children. Now, the mega church, that's another type of church, but it's still a church. The church of 100, 300, 400, most mega churches, whatever, they started with a group and they are still the church. So our African-American churches, our quasi-ethnic churches, our mixed churches, you know, sometimes we say, I go to a multi-ethnic church, but your sound is African-American. Ain't that something? Okay, well, anyway, we're not going to get there. I'm just talking about us as a people. Now, one of the things I was thinking about, and the reason why I wanted to start talking about our Black church and the church and celebrate the leadership, because I think some of us, we can wake up a little bit. In our churches, even in Chicago, one of the things that happened to Chicago, we used to talk about the storefront church. Apostle Brinson, all them churches all up and down 63rd, up and down 47th Street, up and down 79th Street, church after church after church. How come all these people don't have to come together? That's stupid. Do all the gas stations together? All the gas stations together? No. All the barbecue houses together? Well, why don't all the nail salons come together? Why don't we all go? You know, we all, when it comes down to life, our economy and our economics and people, we have a variety of places to choose from. We can go to different places for amusement, different places to take care of our stuff, different stores. We won't even go to the store in our neighborhood, but we'll go to the mall. We'll go other places, but we won't, you know, why can't all the hospitals get together? You have different plans for no matter what you have, you can pick between. And there are a variety of people, places, and things and different things. But when it comes down to the church, it's always, we always got to be one and get together. That's a game. That's the game that enemy plays. Let me tell you about the storefront church in America. The storefront church, especially in Chicago area, the phenomenon was that the storefront church was a social institution as well. It was a light. It took 20 or 30 people coming to a place, lest our feet stray from the places, our God, where we met thee. 10, 15, 20 people come to a place, loved each other, learned from each other, looked after each other's kids. Come on, Apostle Sandra Yancey. You know what I'm talking about. Lorenzo Patterson. Come on, Julius. It was a place. I don't care. The small church, just like in the university. Some people can go to university and be number 235 and walk into a lecture hall of 200 or 300 and get this. Other people need to come to a small college where they know the professor and stuff. So the churches are varied, but in our storefront churches, mixed churches, regardless of denomination, those were social groups. When Mary was missing, they went and saw who Mary was. The deacons and the uncles and stuff, everybody was your uncle and your deacon, your this and your that. Everybody knew who could cook, who made the best cake, who made the best pound cake, who could fry the best chicken. We learned how to cook. Wasn't nobody in our church, in the storefront churches, hungry. I grew up in the storefront church. We had a whole lot of kids. Ooh, I would just be so mad. Once a month, mom and them would be so happy. She come home from church with a big old bag. What was in that bag? Give me aways. I'm like, man, I was waiting till my daddy, get paid, because we was going to go to Sears Roebuck and get us some shoes or get some pants. I would hate for that bag to come to the house, because there was some people in the church that was bigger than us, had grown out of their clothes. They put it in the bag. They didn't give it to the Goodwill. Goodwill was wielding good. They just passed it around to the church. And we bought all other people's clothes. So a lot of people, we wore give me aways, and our brothers and sisters wore hand-me-downs and give me aways. Then you come home with a big bag, and mama would go through the clothes. Well, you can wear this shirt. This fit Jimmy. Then Jimmy outgrew it and gave it to John. And everybody had. You didn't have shoes you wanted. You put cardboard in your shoes and went on to school. Everybody loved everybody. Everybody looked after everybody. Well, everybody didn't really love everybody. I ain't gonna say that, but there was love. Put it that way. There was love. You didn't deal with a lot of low self-esteem. You was somebody. Even if you was a bad somebody, you was somebody. You people knew who you were. People came together, and then look what happened in the storefront church. They would come together, bring all their food on Sunday morning. They would have their church. Then they would go visit another church in the afternoon or in the evening. Then one church would come visit another church, and they would go from one church to one church, or one church be in church all day. The church would have a service in the morning, have a church in the afternoon where they can bring their friends. But it was a community. It was a social community. The community wasn't jacked all up, because it was like the president said, points of light. So if there was 20, Brent said, we don't need all that. We had 20 churches on one block. And if everybody in the neighborhood would go to each one of those churches, guess what? They would be overflowing. So just those 20 churches in one block couldn't take care of all the people in the neighborhood. The churches wasn't in the neighborhood. They was on the main streets most time. And most of the time, what happened? You got to give it to the storefront church and the storefront pastor, because actually the folks came in our neighborhoods and they moved out. So most of the storefront churches was abandoned businesses. Come on, y'all, you know that. So most of the pastors would get an abandoned place, paid a little rent for abandoned little place that used to be a business, a little store. And what them folks would do, them handful of folk would get together. What they do, they would paint it up. I remember as a teenager, we had a storefront. We painted the floors. We, made a pulpit and fixed it all up and make it livable. Outside of that, it was just a vacant piece of property. So some of the storefronts went into certain communities on the main street and took the property that was busted out in winters and fixed it up, called it the church. And some of them little churches that did that, now guess what? They big churches now. They mega churches now, but they started in the storefront. And the storefront was a gathering of community people. Now we got rid of the storefront and they got thrift. Now we got all these strip malls, and look at all this crime. You used to go to the graveyard to put down your dials and your your little candles and mourn. Now you drive down the street and you have your memorial places where somebody was shot right there, somebody dropped dead right there, somebody was drive by over there, or up and down the street. It's nothing to be driving down the street and see a teddy bear, a candle, and some flowers. Somebody got shot right there, or there was an accident right there. When you had to go to the graveyard to do that. So now we got, what happened? Storefront churches are gone. Certain churches are gone in community. I thank God for those who are still standing and fixed it up and busted out wall and bought the building next door. I celebrate you. Don't you? You have helped the community because you still keep the community alive. And yet we want to talk about the preacher, the storefront preacher. But you know what? You need to celebrate mama and them mothers and them missionaries. If you were sick, they came to your house. All the sickness and all this stuff that we have in our communities, we didn't have all that. Even though, yes, and all that time, Dr. Tabron, God bless you. You know what? We didn't have all this issues. Even though we dealt with issues, we dealt with concerns. We was always behind the 8 ball. Sickness was higher. We dealt with that in compared to the white folks over the black folk. We had certain things, but you know what? We knew how to get stuff. I wish I could go in there. How many of y'all remember cod liver oil and castor oil? You in the one, we're going to change the seasons. Folks say they could, now they out of vitamin C. They looking, no, you had some castor oil, you had some cod, get that castor oil, and you can then take some orange or some lemon and squeeze it, castor oil, cod liver oil. Mama make that lemon tea and boil this and boil that and mix this and mix that and put it together and put that together. They taught us, the same people that taught us when down in the South in Massa would throw away the pig, the snoot, the ear, the intros, and we take that and call it chitlins, take stuff and mix it up and fix it up and boil it and clean it and pray ate it and was healthy. Now with all this medicine, we all these problems in our families. Some of this stuff is mental, some of it is spiritual, because 85% of all diseases is mental related or spiritual. Did you know that 85% of all diseases, a disease is a dis-ease of the mind or the spirit. D-I-S-E-A-S-E, dis-ease or disease. Your disease is a physical manifestation of either a mental or a spiritual dis-ease that continues to become a disease. At least 85%. Medical science have said that. Now you notice that now what medical science is saying, we need to come up with a more creative way to deal with cancer and other diseases. We want to bring in your therapist for your mental person. We need you to get your spiritual, your pastor or chaplain, and your therapist, your social worker, and we all come together with the doctors as a team, your parents and stuff, and come together as a team to see what we could do to make sure you move toward holistic healing. But that was part of our community as a people. So you know what? I thought about that. I'm saying now, out here now, the mayor and the governor and the president all have said, based upon this virus, we want you all, everybody to get a mask. Everybody get a mask. So we got people walking around with masks. Well, in Chicago here, we should never have no problem. It shouldn't be no problem about getting a mask. Because, when it get cold, y'all take that scarf and wrap it all around you. The only thing you need to do is just cover your nose, wrap around. It be so cold in Chicago. Everybody know about scarves, but now we got masks. I thought about it. I said, African-American people that's creative, somebody ought to be making some money now. My wife is a seamstress. She's an essential worker, so she works for the veterans. She works down at the Veterans in the administration. So every day she's out of here at 7 o'clock in the morning on her way to Jesse Brown. She's down at Jesse Brown every day. And I'll be praying, oh Lord, don't let her catch nothing, bring nothing here. We quarantining. But Lord, please, then so she started making. I thought about it. And so she got in there and pulled out her sewing machine. Half of us in the black room can't sew no more. But some of y'all know how to sew. Y'all remember? Some of us babies, come on, y'all went to DuSable. Y'all went to Dunbar. Some of y'all took tailoring classes. Remember? We used to have tailoring classes in school. So if I just thought about it, if the president can say to General Motors and Ford, y'all make cars I need y'all to switch over in your technology and start producing ventilators. I need you all to start making masks to put on people. So I need the wine and beer industry. You all deal with alcohol. I need you to switch over and take your alcohol and add some aloe vera with it and make some hand sanitizers. I mean, come on now. So, hey, you know what? Every pastor, I challenge you, call your members up. There's some people in your congregation that know how to sew. They know how to sew. They know how to sew. All our tailors in our community, y'all know how to sew. Y'all can cut and sew. So instead of say, well, I can't find no mask. We can't find it. No, we make our own. Come on, black church. The black community, black church, we should have people making, some people should be selling. I talked to a couple of people right now. They say, Brinson, I'm making them, I'm charging $7. There's some of them got all kind of different colors. So I was trying to get me and I said, my honey, she made some masks. I came home, she been sewing for the last couple of days when she get home from work all day and she sit up all night and she been making masks and I'm holding some of them now. She been making masks, and put the little thing on them and I got 2 or 3 colors and different colors. Some of y'all need to go. Somebody got it because she went to the store, went to Michael's and started trying to find some elastic and they didn't bought all the elastic out. Somebody's doing something. So you know what? She made me mine. I got my personal one on. So when I go out, I put my mask on. See that? And it comes up under my chin, over my nose. See? So this is handmade. My wife made this. This is handmade. And it's got enough room for me to breathe. I got enough room. Can y'all still hear me talking? So when I go out, I got my mask. My son got one for his side. We got some for children. You can make them. The church, the black church, the church, we should be making masks for all our members. You want their tithes and their offering? You want their tithes and their offering? Well, if you want their tithes and their offerings, you want them to give, there's no reason that the black people in Chicago, in this area, there should be not one black child, one black person without a mask. This should not be. I know I'm challenging some folk. Our kids going to be going back to school soon. They're going to be going back to school soon. And I know when they go back to school, their mind's going to be what I need to cover up myself. Look, some of y'all parents and stuff, y'all still out there. The liquor store open. The other store, but you start investing, making some masks. There's some people, some of my seamstress, some of my friends. I call Larry. Yes, I call Larry. I used to go and get my stuff. The Holy Spirit spoke to me Sunday, said, Brinson, call the pastors and tell them to call their seamstress and have them start making masks for their members and making masks for the community and charge them. I said, well, what you going to do? He said, I'm charging $7. Okay. Well, some of us, we going to buy them. And then some of us, we going to donate so many. So the homeless got masks, the people got masks. So while we waiting for so-and-so to do math, only thing we need is some material and some thread and some string. Some of y'all just need to get out your winter scarf and wrap it up. But until then, we got some people that's creative. They got their little mask. Then some of them add some bling to it. Got them in different colors. My wife talking about, well, Brent, honey, give me your mask back. And I got a machine that's I'm gonna put your name on it. I'm a monogram. I got a monogram machine. She got a monogram machine. I'm a monogram Apostle B on the side of your mask. Boy, you know what? We in the black community. We look. I'm telling y'all. You know, there's some people right now. When all this is over, said and done, people gonna still have masks, right? You're going to be able to go to the market, go to the store and buy certain masks. They're going to come in all kind of colors. They're going to be all kind of styles. It's going to be a part of your style dress. Yes, it is. So some of you all, listen to me. You all that are good and you seamstress and you tailors, you better go ahead and start making you some money now. The economy. Start doing masses, putting them together. The churches start giving, just like you give out food, start giving out masses to people. You can wash them fix them up. Then some of you all can do some heavy duty ones. I'm sure by now, if you go on YouTube, they'd already jumped ahead of you. Somebody on YouTube is talking about how to make a mask. See, within the black church, we had all these kind of things going on for us. People would make things. They would look out for each other, look out for one another. While we talking about if my people is a call, okay. While you praying, you got to watch. While you praying, you need to be thankful. While you praying, you need to be more sensitive to people and their needs, the mental, physical situation. So some things, all things work together for good. This is not good. People dying. This is not good. People dying in certain. This is not good. But all things work together for the good. So it's not good, but what is the good that we can get out of what is bad? What is it that we can get out of this situation, this virus situation, these circumstances? What can we get out? The black church will never be the same. Some of you all that's been paying all this money out your pocket to rent a little place, I bet y'all don't do that no more. Boy, we going to have Zoom platform. We going to have streaming live. We going to have all kinds. Folk going to be on conference calls. Folk ain't going to be coming out all night. They're going to be, we have Bible study. We have e-learning. We have a e-learning Sunday school. We have an e-learning, but we still together to touch. We going to come together to touch, but we may come once a month or twice a month. We a gathering once a month every first Sunday. Then some of you are so stuck on legalism, you frustrated because you didn't have communion first Sunday. Who said? Jesus said, as often as you eat this bread and drink this cup, you show my death to come. Some of y'all all frustrated because you in communion. Would not have some today. Some of us as pastors and groups, you should have communion on wheels. You should be able to put your little thing on just like the priest out there blessing, hearing confessions out there on the park bench. See, whoever thought about that? We need to go into our communities, set up places where God meets. Go into our communities at large and say, this is where God is. This is where God is. Sister Threadgill, my cousin, God bless you. Do you need to? I'm a Rab. Yeah, I'm from the Rab family and the Parson family. But you know what? We need to come up with some creative measures now of how to worship and celebrate. Who said we had to go with Constantine's order of worship of the sun god on a Sunday? I mean, he rose on a Sunday, but we should be able to worship him in spiritual and truth, even though we set up different days. And some of us, the new churches, these independent churches, y'all know y'all been having y'all worship celebration based upon when you can find you a musician. You know, you can't get it on those Sunday all tied in. So you have your Monday night, your Friday night, your Wednesday. Some of us, we celebrate the Sabbath. So we have our Friday evening or our Saturday service of worship. Then we worship, we coming together. But Paul said, don't forget to assemble yourselves together. But as we assemble ourselves together, and the church was something for everybody, we did some of everything. But now, in the African-American community now, we can do other things. We have other issues and other places to do what we do. But yet we still have our churches. Some of y'all know good and well, y'all sitting up here right now thinking about the fried chicken. But we used to have chicken dinners and all that stuff. Nobody was sick. Who got sick off of Sister Brown's greens? Girl, what you put in them greens? Folk learn how to cook. Some of us don't even know how to cook. Don't know how to cook. We got all these issues in our community. Some of us, you know what the mama used to do? You come to church and you was all thin. Church mama like, bring Jimmy over to the house. I'm going to fatten him up. You got to eating them biscuits and some alligator syrup and eating some other stuff and getting some soup, some chicken noodle soup. It wasn't those chicken noodle soup. That was some chicken noodle soup. It wasn't just where the chicken at, where the rice at. Can't find but 1 or 2 pieces in there. No, you had some soup. When you had some stew, you had stew, casserole. When you ate, you was full. And some of us, we ate so much we became obese. And then some of us, we know we went to these churches that fast. Once a week, we had to fast. They told us we couldn't have fast. We couldn't even eat nothing. We couldn't have no water, no nothing. But we didn't know that when we fast once a week, we was letting the body rest to break down certain things. Some of us didn't really know the medical side of that. Others did, but others didn't. So fasting and praying and meditating and relating to each other and one another. And so I thought that I just wanted to take some time out and talk to my people and say, you know what? It makes no sense. It makes no sense to have to hear the report that the African American community is far affected by this virus. Well, the truth remains, the African American community was far affected by just not this virus, by more. So I pulled it up. Look, listen to this. Listen to this. It says, why 7 daily diseases strike blacks most? Seven deadly diseases strike blacks most than any diseases. So we're looking at when I looked at that, I was like, wow, 7? There's 7 diseases that strikes blacks most than other diseases. I was like, wow. So I went on and double checked. One group, when I Googled it, said 5. This one says 7. The top 5 diseases that disproportionately affect blacks: sickle cell anemia, diabetes, stroke, cancer, high blood pressure. We need to add obesity to that list, lung issues, all kinds of things we need to add to the list. And I was thinking about asthma. Now, this coronavirus, some of the folk that have died, they had issues already with asthma. They had issues with pneumonia already. And so now some of this stuff, some of us grew up with asthma, but when we was in our churches, we didn't have that, asthma was a problem. It was in our families. It was a silent killer. But a lot of people wasn't dying from asthma. You know why? Because asthma also comes out of a spiritual disease as well. I was looking at that, and I wanted to look at asthma having to do with lung disease, and this whole situation of the virus attacks you in the lungs. So Black Americans and lung disease. Let's look at what it said. And you know what? As I looked at www.webmd.com, this presentation was in 2005. We're in 2020. We're in 2020. I'm reading from a report. It says a 2005 report from the American Lung Association shows that Black Americans suffer far more lung diseases than white Americans do. They knew that. There was a report in 2005, 15 years ago. Let me come and telling me, well, blacks are dying more percentage of the virus. If the virus is lung related, well, already in 15 years ago, the report said that blacks were disproportionate. The American Lung Association, what is it to get information and don't do nothing about it? How come? Where's the research in the black communities, in the disproportionate community? How do we challenge our leaders? What do we do? How are we praying and seeking God about what we need to do? As it said, Black Americans have more asthma than any racial or ethnic group in America. And blacks are 3 times more likely to die of asthma than whites. 3 times. Now, I wanted to take a look at asthma for a minute. So I went, I told you that most diseases are also diseases come from diseases. So some of you all need to get this book called A More Excellent Way, Be in Health, The Spiritual Roots of Diseases, Pathway to Wholeness, by the late Henry W. Wright. You can get it. You can get it on Amazon. A More Excellent Way. A More Excellent Way. Be in Health. A More Excellent Way by Henry White. Order it on Amazon. He lists the 85 different diseases, the medical side to it, and the spiritual side to it. Now, let's see what he said about asthma. He describes asthma from the medical standpoint, but he also says what asthma is from a spiritual standpoint. Asthma is a fear, anxiety manifestation. It can be inherited. There's a genetic component in the medical journals that the hypothalamus gland, when it senses fear and anxiety, causes a hormone called ACTH to be secreted. This hormone goes into the bloodstream and docks at the receptor cell in the alveoli, and this produces a stiffening. So, and now it says asthma is one of the fastest growing childhood diseases in America. Okay? So asthma has been a medical issue for decades. Johns Hopkins University research proves that nothing you breathe causes an asthmatic attack. Nothing you breathe. Something is happening in the lungs that causes the stiffen and causes it to have difficulty in getting air. What causes that? What is the spiritual side of asthma? One of the causal factors, the spiritual causal factor. I tell you that our diseases, our diseases of either the mind or the spirit, or a combination of both, and a little bit of other things, a little bit of medical, inherited, gene, along with mental, environmental, social, and spiritual. So the spiritual side of asthma has to do with great fear concerning relationships. Great fear, the spirit of fear. The spirit of fear can control the physiology through your hypothalamus gland. Did y'all know that? God has not given. I know there's some of you all, that your children have asthma. They have asthma. And in your home, y'all fight and fuss. And every time you go into an argument and fight and fuss, your child have an asthma attack. I know some people like that. My child just had an asthma attack and blah, blah, blah. And they asked me, I said, so what were you and the wife, I know y'all have a tendency to argue and fuss. Were y'all in an argument? Oh, yeah, well, the pastor, she shouldn't have said something. Okay, well, if an asthma attack also, if it has nothing to do with what you breathe, but more so what happens in the hypothalamus gland, and that hypothalamus gland secrete certain things when it is challenged by fear and anxiety. Fear, anxiety, and the fear of being rejected, of being alone. The fear of relationships jacked up. Well, you know, in the black church, way back, we had asthma. People had asthma. They didn't have it that much. They didn't have it that much because, people loved each other a little more. There wasn't a lot of argument and fussing, and there was argument and fussing, but people hugged on each other, talked to each other a little more, and asthma wasn't it. But it says right here, a lung disease. It said Black American children are 3 times as likely as white American children to have sleep apnea. Black American babies die of sudden infant death syndrome, SIDS, 2.5 times as often as white American babies. What? So what you saying, Brinson? What? Wait. They've been knowing that all the time. So to come out talking about the virus no. This going on all the time. It's just that blacks now, this virus is taking us out, but there are other diseases that may have something to do with it too. People had asthma. Start looking at all these people that's died. Find out, did they have anything else? They were obese. Obesity. They had problems breathing before. They had asthma. They had sarcoidosis, scarring tissue. They had lung disease, kidney disease, stroke. All of these is in our community more than ever before. And this study is 15 years old, y'all. It just now takes this virus for about, oh my God, just 75%. Oh my, no. We need to do something. We need to look at people. Some of us don't go to the specialist because we don't have no health care. And a lot of blacks in the city, they don't have, you know how much it is. Some of them didn't enroll in Obamacare. And some that did, they still trying to take it away. So thank God for the county. Go ahead, thank God for the county. If it wasn't for the county, some of y'all be dead now. Some of y'all don't have, go to the specialist. Some of y'all just trying to get to the doctor. let alone the specialists. The specialists come to play when you go to your doctor and have a relationship with your doctor. You pay your bill, you got medical insurance, HPPO, MO, whatever, and you say this ain't working, then they refer you to the specialist. But you got to get to the doctor before you can get to the specialist. And certain things has been tried. So in some of our communities, we got black middle class and upper class and other folk who have a specialist. Yes, we do. So all of us ain't poor. Thank God. Everybody African American ain't poor. No, 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 no. I'm talking about those who are, and this percentage-wise has been with us for a while, and we need to use this virus now to begin to deal with the reality of healthcare, economics, community, environmental issues. We've not been dealing with that. No, we have not. No, we have not. Look at it. It says diabetes is 60% more in Black America than in white America. Blacks are up to 2.5 times more likely to suffer a limb amputation. I got toes cut off. I got my foot cut off. Half my leg cut off. And up to 5.6 times more likely to suffer kidney diseases than other people with diabetes. Look at all these dialysis in our community. All these dialysis centers are setting up in our community over against the white community. But come on now. African Americans are 3 times more likely to die of asthma than white Americans. Deaths from lung scarring sarcoidosis are 16 times more common among blacks than among whites. The disease recently killed a former NFL star, this disease recently killed former NFL star Reggie White at the age of 43. Now, this is a 2005 report. Despite lower tobacco exposure, black men are 50% more likely than white men to get lung cancer. Strokes kill 4 times more of 35 to 54-year-old black Americans than white American blacks, have nearly twice the first time of strokes. Blacks develop high blood pressure early in life and much higher blood pressure levels than whites. Nearly 2% of black men and more than 45% of black women aged 20 and older have high blood pressure. 20 years old, 22 and 23 years old, having high blood pressure. Cancer treatment is equally successful for all races, so they say. It says, yet black men have a 40% higher cancer death rate than white men. And African American women have a 20% higher cancer death rate than white women. Now, you talking about the virus. There's a lot of things that play into that. So we got to deal with the environment in which people live. We got to deal with our social economic status. And yes, racism has a part to play in that. We got to deal with how we get treated. Some treatments don't, certain things you treat us with, diseases and responses to treatment kind of vary from person to person. And then there's unique issues on top of that affect black Americans. And then when we talk about healthcare, the way, healthcare is practiced in the black community and among blacks, not only in the black community, because blacks can go to the white community. You can go leave here and go to Christ. I'm going to Christ Hospital. We out there on 95th. It's in the white community, but you black. You can go to a hospital in a white community, but you black. So your treatment may be different. Don't treat you like, So we're dealing with the social economics, the political issues and bias. We're dealing with the psychological and also the genetic issues that go into all that is in the same bucket. Plus the racial differences and the nuances and the disparity and the issues of racism and institutional structures and all that. We got something to pray about. We got something to do. If my people, you got to be more than just if my people. You got to deal with some talking, some negotiations. Your prayer ought to get you to moving. Your prayer ought to get you active. Your prayer ought to get you out there to vote. Your prayer ought to get you to come out and listen to the town hall meetings. Your prayer ought to get you active and getting together and working. That's why I celebrate my pastors and my leaders and those of us, because the only thing we own and control is the black church. When it gets all said and done, all y'all now, you know, black businesses, we got black business and we got black politicians, we black community. Yeah, I know. We got a black mayor. Thank you, Jesus. But right through in here, the black mayor can say what she want to say. Chris will get up and say, I'm the governor. I'm shutting stuff down, mayor. I'm giving you a notice. I know you want the schools to sell, but you the black mayor, but I'm the white governor. And I'm the millionaire. So I can tell everybody your job ain't essential. Cause why? He ain't missing nothing. He's still fat and roly-poly. Pistol don't look like he missed the meal. Huh? While Lori talking about she got to get a haircut, he got his haircut. It's just that people didn't go show no pictures. They smart. That's all. You know, come on. It's Pristine. He never got up in front of the podium and look, woo, Pristine and lost some weight. He ain't missed no meal. He probably eat more now. He ain't missed nothing. Come on now. I'm not trying to be bad, but I'm just letting you know that we got to look at the different reasons why we are like we are as a people. The reactions. One is that 71% of African Americans versus 50% of white Americans live in communities that violated the federal air pollution. Demographically, we live in areas that's located next to transportation corridors and places where the air is all jacked up. You live in the main city. Some of these white folks, they go out in the country. Woo, we live out there. We gonna come in the city, do what we gotta do and catch the train home. Well, we got 15,000 square feet, 1,500 square feet of land. You botched up with the average house in Chicago is what? 125 by 100. 100 front and a 125 length, and next door to you, so you 100 feet apart from each other, and they end up sitting up here on the hill, down in the valley, in the slum. They got breathing room. You ain't no breathing room, so we breathing on top of each other. We nest these highways and men, all this stuff, places where air pollution is. We living near waste dumps, toxic waste dumps, and factories that produce the waste. So while we got generic differences that play a role, we still got blacks that still die of lung diseases and could be due to health care disparities. And sometimes blacks, we get diagnosed later because we finally got to the hospital. We didn't have no money, so we went to the county, sat around for a long time. We didn't feel like going to the county, but we went there, and finally we got diagnosed. They said if you had got here earlier, we would have been able to work on this, but now we have to do a more aggressive medical sense. And then some of us in church, we go to the doctor, we go to medical, and then when we come back, the devil is a lie. I went to the doctor, amen, hallelujah, but I'm going to trust God. You've been trusting them all the time. You ought to trust them through your doctors. Pray for your doctors, because all wisdom and knowledge come from God. Thank for the medical community. We thank God for every first responder. We thank God. We pray for them. And so when you get diagnosed something, don't throw them away talking about every devil is a lie. No, you the lie. It's your body. You got yourself like that. Come on now. We need to look at that. So we need to be able to understand that environment is involved, genetics is involved, and diseases and strokes are out there. But in the midst of all that, you know what? God is still able. Sugar diabetes and all that. We need to watch our diets. We need to eat right. We need to get some rest. We need to get our minds together. We need to worship. We need to have a sense of spirituality. We need to train our young folk. We need to stop letting stuff bother us. Some of y'all getting old, be worried about Jimmy. Better let Jimmy go. Put him in the hands of the Lord and give him to somebody. You're going to die of a stroke, a heart attack, a frustration. All these things is in our community on top of the virus. I just wanted to stop by and let you know that God is still God, that God is still able to meet your need. And so I want to celebrate my leaders, the leaders of the community, the leaders of the religious leaders, the clergy and the pastors, the missionaries, the evangelists, you lay people in the pew, y'all keep on praying here. Keep on praying, keep on seeking God. Keep on giving God praise, because in the midst of the vicissitudes of life, God will change your attitude, put you on a higher altitude, and move you through a gratitude where you can give God praise for the magnitude of his power. So when the enemy comes in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord will lift up a stand and give you strength So may the grace of God be with you. May God bless you. May God keep you. And may God's face shine upon you and give you peace during this season is my prayer. And so it is. Thank God.